How to skip school without parents knowing. Do you want to skip school, but don't want the hassle of faking sick? Read these steps on how to skip one class or a whole day. Method 1: Skipping one class. One, weigh the consequences. Before you do anything, know your school's attendance policy and how much trouble you could potentially be in if you get caught. Be aware that the school might call your parents if you're marked absent from class, and that you might have to face the penalty of detention. In some schools, attendance is taken in the morning, then in the afternoon. This is an easy way to cheat the school's security. 2. Plan ahead. Pick when you're going to skip class. First and last period are common choices because you can fake a permission slip from a parent and tell the attendance office you slept in, or that you had to leave early for a doctor's appointment. Alternatively, you could pick a day when you know your school will be having a long assembly, such as a spirit bowl or talent show. Find out about how long the event will last, and make sure you're back with time to spare. If you return before the assembly has finished, hang out in the bathroom until you hear people in the halls, then walk back to class as normal. You could also leave the school during a lockdown or tornado fire drill. Then, if you got out quickly enough, you could sneak back in via a side entrance. 3. Act natural. Remember, lack of confidence will give you away quickly. If a teacher or administrator catches you walking out of the door, look them in the eye and say you're waiting for a parent to pick you up for an appointment. If you meet a questioning stranger outside of school, tell them that you have the day off, e.g., an inset day or teacher's strike, or, if it is in the morning, that your school has a late start, perhaps after a parents' evening, or say that you're homeschooled without sounding defensive or upset. Don't take your backpack off the school grounds. If you get caught by a stranger or school administrator, your cover will be blown. Put it in your locker, or if your school doesn't have lockers, find a place to stash it that most people wouldn't look, but don't leave valuables such as keys, cell phones, or so forth in it. 4. Know the exits and entrances. If you know of a door that's out of the way and not a lot of people use, this could be the best bet for sneaking out. Just make sure there aren't a lot of exterior windows around it through which teachers can see you leaving. 5. Split up. If you're leaving in a large group, don't all walk out of the door together at once. Stagger your exits and returns, and go one or two at a time to avoid drawing attention. Establish a meeting place and time, and if someone doesn't make it, assume they got caught. Don't go back in for anyone. 6. Know where you're going. The last thing you want to do is call your parents and have them come pick you up because you got lost while you were skipping school. Also, make sure you know how long it takes round trip to travel to your destination. Method 2: Skipping a whole day. One, know the consequences. Some school districts won't let you pass the grade if you miss too many days in a semester. including sick days. Make sure you're not putting your education in jeopardy by missing a whole day of school. 2. Make a plan. Pick a day that you want to skip school. Take in consideration any tests, special events, etc. that may be occurring. You don't want to miss something mandatory that you won't be able to make up. 3. Decide if you want to stay home or go out. Staying home keeps you away from the prying eyes of strangers, and lets you grab the phone if the school calls regarding your absence. Going out might offer more entertainment, but you run the risk of bumping into your parents, friends or other people you might not want to see. If you leave home, go to a park or woods or someplace where you can hang out without a lot of people. If you are hanging in a park, bring an iPod or something to do in case you get bored. If it is warm outside, you can go to a pond or lake to swim. 4. Figure out how you're going to leave. There are a few different ways to avoid going to a whole day of school. Here are a couple ideas. If you have working parents that don't stay home and you walk to school or take a bus, simply start out heading to school in whatever fashion you do, but on the way go to a hiding spot and hide until your parents are gone. You may want to pick out the hiding spot the day before so you're not running around looking for a place to hide. After your parents have left and you see no one walking around, run or fast walk back to your house and hang out there for a bit. Then leave the house 30 minutes before your parents are supposed to come back and return home like you just got out of school. Go to school as usual in the morning, just don't go through the doors. After you've been dropped off, casually walk away from the building. If someone asks where you're going, say you forgot your homework and you only live a few blocks away. Consider writing an excuse note, in good parental handwriting, a few days in advance and drop it off at the attendance office, with a note at the bottom for the administrators to call your parent at their new work number with any questions. Leave your cell phone number at the bottom and, when the administrator calls, confirm yourself or have a friend confirm the excused absence. This is a tremendous risk, though. If you get caught, the school could take disciplinary action. 5. Act confident. If you're out of the house and you run into people who question whether you should be at school, have a story and stick to it. For instance, say you're visiting your cousin from out of state, or that you're homeschooled. These excuses are easier to pull off if you don't have your backpack with you. 6. Head home early. Start making your home at least half an hour before school lets out. If anyone asks you why you are not in school, say something like, "I'm sick and my dad couldn't come pick me up." 7. Deal with your note problem, if necessary. If you need to bring a note into school when you are skipping, then just say that your homeroom teacher lost the previous absent note and they need to rewrite it because they couldn't find it. When your parents ask for the date, say that your teacher said it would be okay if you forgot the date of the time you were recently absent and you just tell your parent to put today's date. Remember to use a pen.
Tips.
Find your parents' cell phone, dial 0, USA, or 100, UK, and tell the operator you want to block a certain number on your phone. Give your school's number and your parents will never get the call. Erase the call history from recent calls so your parents won't know you called the operator. Try creating a contact labeled mom or dad with your number in it, so you can fake your parents' texts. If the school's going to call, and uses a recorded message, talk on your home phone with a friend around the time you think they will call. When the school calls, your parents will not hear because you are on the phone. Switch over and listen for about 3 to 4 seconds. Then switch back. If the school normally calls twice, stay on longer. You could alternatively take the phone off the hook and hide it if you have a cordless phone. If you're looking this up at home, delete the history on your computer so that your parents won't see you've viewed this article. If you want to bring a friend, choose one that you know won't rat on you later. If you ride the bus to school, at the end of the day, come back to school and wait in a hiding place until kids start coming out to board the buses. At that point, you just nonchalantly join the crowd and take the bus home as usual. If you have a landline phone, slide the plug slightly out of the socket so it looks like it is still plugged in, but it is really unplugged. Do this around the time your school normally calls, but remember to plug it in again later. To avoid suspicion from parents, act sick the day before you plan on skipping school. Also, make yourself look a little sick when you go back to school the next day. Wear athletic clothing so you could pass as a runner at first glance. Then as soon as your parents drop you off and drive away, walk off school property and run home or wherever. If you're just going to skip one class, consider skipping a study hall, if you have one. Oftentimes, teachers are very lenient about attendance in study hall, especially since they don't count for anything. If you skip a study hall, the teacher may even mark you as being present anyway. Just don't do this too often or they'll realize something's up. If you have physical education in a different building, near the streets, you can just walk outside, as if you had physical education for your next lesson, but in reality, you're going home.
Warnings.
Most teachers can tell the difference between an adult's voice and a kid's voice. Only try excusing your own absence on the phone if people commonly mistake you for your parent when they call the house. Always have a friend in class, because they can take notes and you can copy from them.
Things you'll need:
a watch or cell phone with the time, the school's phone number, to give to the operator if you want to block the school from calling your parents,